seeing revival through Moms in Prayer International?
Well, I'll tell you just a few because it take me a long time, but
because the people holding the visas did display support for terrorism. We're going to keep tracking this. This is a key initiative at the State Department and the Trump administration. As we were coming on the air today, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, and I'm so glad she went off on this, excoriating the media today for immediately jumping to the conclusion that Donald Trump had done something wrong or given something away in his talks with Vladimir Putin and trying to get a peace deal. Let's listen. It's a long clip, but let's listen to our friend, the press secretary, Karoline Leavitt.
However, one thing that has absolutely not changed is the media's negative and downright false coverage of President Trump and his foreign policy accomplishments. From the beginning of this entire process, much of the left-wing media has been actively rooting against the President of the United States in the pursuit of peace. Initially, the media ridiculously claimed that President Trump was somehow beholden to Russia for even agreeing to have a face-to-face discussion with President Putin inside of the United States. The media said President Trump was making a grave mistake by, quote, legitimizing Putin. They were aghast that President Trump would treat another world leader like a world leader. The media relentlessly attacked President Trump and claimed he suffered a, quote, major defeat for not immediately emerging with a final agreement, even though he said heading into that meeting, this was a meeting to listen and to understand how to move the ball forward. All weekend following those historic U.S.-Russia bilateral talks, we listened to clueless on television, trying but failing to claim that the president had failed. The so-called experts in the foreign policy establishment, whose record is nothing but endless wars, trillions of wasted taxpayer dollars, and dead Americans, have the nerve to try and lecture President Trump, who has solved 7 global conflicts in 7 months, about peace. This is the same president, by the way, who brokered the Abraham Accords in his first term, on top of more than half a dozen other peace deals this year alone, as I just said. We also saw yesterday the president of Ukraine and all of the other major leaders of Europe fly across the Atlantic Ocean to meet President Trump at the White House because of the progress that was made, and that, if you ask the media, failed meeting, but it was not. It was highly productive and it was successful. This is why Americans' trust in the mass media is at a lowest point in more than 5 decades. Diplomacy is a delicate process, and instead of reporting the facts about what is happening here at this White House and what is happening between this president and other leaders around the world, many outlets in this room continue to try to actively undermine the president and sabotage the efforts towards peace.
Goodness gracious. Karoline Leavitt going off on the press corps. That was in her briefing that started just before we went on the air. And you know what? Good for her. She's absolutely right. What happened? Donald Trump said out loud, I'd like to find a solution to solving the war in Ukraine. The only 2 people there are to talk to and to ultimately solve it, as Marco Rubio has told us, are Putin and Zelensky. Yes, the Europeans are involved, and yes, President Trump is involved, but ultimately Putin and Zelensky, they are the 2 players. Their countries are at war. So we got to talk to them. Trump makes a meeting with Putin. Immediately, all the usual suspects. This isn't going to work. This is a failure. He's pro-Putin, and so on and so forth. Absolute rank irresponsibility out of the media to try to shut down a peace process before it's ever really underway. The truth is they don't want President Trump to succeed. I mean, that's the truth of it. He does something, like, I don't know, try to solve a war. They would prefer the war to continue as to have to report that Donald Trump solved yet another conflict on this planet Earth. You've been listening to Common Sense for the American People. It's Scott Jennings. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow with more breaking news and great conversations. We're giving you the truth, busting the narratives here on Salem Radio Network.
Slaying the leftist narratives one by one. This is the Scott Jennings Show.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings. You know, when the culture tide turns against truth, it becomes more important than ever to support the storytellers who are willing to stand up for it. That's what Angel is doing. They're not just producing entertainment. They're giving a home to stories that reflect the principles this country was founded on: faith, family, and freedom. They've released films like Sound of Freedom, which exposed modern-day realities of child trafficking when Hollywood refused to touch it. Angel isn't answering to Hollywood gatekeepers. They answer to their members, and that's where the Angel Guild comes in. Guild members vote on which projects to move forward. They help support the stories that deserve to be told, and they're proving that when ordinary people unite behind truth, extraordinary things happen. Join the movement. Go to angel.com/Scott and join the Angel Guild today. Support films that reflect your values. You know, I just took my kids to see the new Sketch movie. I have to tell you, it was extremely entertaining and family friendly. So join the Angel Guild, because the future of America's stories depends on who tells them. Listen, it's important to have a pharmacy that you can trust, one that's on your side. Too many medications are being restricted for political reasons, not medical ones, leaving Americans shut out of treatments they trust. That's why you need to know about All Family Pharmacy. They're doing things differently, helping people get affordable access to real treatments like ivermectin and mebendazole, and standing up for medical freedom. Here's how it works. They're based in Florida, and they ship to all 50 states. You go online, you request the medications you want, a licensed doctor reviews your form, and if approved, your order ships straight to your door. No insurance, no hassle. And they've made it even easier with a price drop of up to 25% on ivermectin and mebendazole. To have these meds on hand for any emergency, now is the time to get them. Use code SCOTT10 for an extra 10% off. That's up to 35% off the treatments the system made harder to get. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Scott and claim your discount today.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing pain, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or are experiencing pain or numbness in your feet, pick up the phone and call us right now before it's too late at 469-669-0893. Again, that's 469-669-0893. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. Eventually, it leads to balance problems, falls, complete loss of independence, and can lead to amputation.
Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Thomas, DC, founder of 360 Wellness. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medications. In fact, many patients start experiencing relief from neuropathy symptoms within weeks.
Pick up the phone right now and call 469-669-0893 to schedule your free consultation and exam. We're here to help.
Find us at 660amtheanswer.com. Download our app. Stream us 24/7. KSKY, Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth. This is 660 AM, The Answer. With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Hurricane Aaron expected to bring swells to the East Coast, as well as the potential for heavy rainfall on the Outer Banks of North Carolina this week. One U.S. Senator casting doubt on the reliability of security guarantees as part of a negotiated peace between Russia and Ukraine. Bob Agnew reports.
Senator Tom Cotton says Ukraine had security guarantees from President Bill Clinton, but when war later broke out during the Obama administration,
he was nowhere to be found, sending nothing but meals ready to eat and blankets.